Hello to all of my Radloff families. This is Miss Callahan, and I'm doing a screencast in order to give you some important updates. These updates are important for parents who chose in-person as well as parents who chose digital. So I want to make sure that you all get the opportunity to hear this. I am going to take moments during this broadcast to pause because I will have this broadcast translated in Spanish so that our families whose primary language is Spanish are able to tap into it as well. So if I talk slowly, that is the reason. And those of you who have talked to me before know that I am not a slow talker. So I will do my best to slow down and pause every now and again. We're hoping that this screencast will help to show you some things that are difficult to see perhaps in an email. And the other thing is that if you are only able to hear the audio, at least you will still get the updates that are necessary. So I'm going to stop, pause, and go to share my screen. All right, I am sharing my screen. So first of all, these announcements are taking place on August 30th, 2020. We did do a parent update via video or screencast last Monday, and that broadcast is available on the website. However, many of the things that we discussed in the last broadcast will be rediscussed, plus some other things that we did not think of at that time, we have now included in this broadcast. So I want to first start with something that's really important and very time sensitive. Free and reduced lunch forms need to be completed every year. So if your student received free or reduced lunch last year, we need for you to make sure that they complete the free and reduced lunch forms. And if this is your first year with us at Radloff, we ask too that you complete the free and reduced lunch forms. If they are not completed by a certain date, you will not be able to have the funds or the money to go. They will not help you pay for your lunch. The government will no longer help you pay for the lunch. So you must be sure to complete the free and reduced lunch forms. It's very, very, very important. So it's important that you complete them as soon as possible. They will expire. And what that means is that you will have to pay for your student's lunch at full price. Many of our Radloff families qualify for this supplement, so we don't want any family to miss out on the opportunity to get their students' meals paid for. There is a link on our website, and that link will lead to the different forms in the different languages. If you have a question, please call the front office and you can ask for Ms. Ruiz. Ms. Ruiz is our Parents Instructional Support Coordinator. She's going to assist you with this process. And if you need something besides an electronic copy of the form, we do have paper forms at the school. But please, please, please call about this. We don't want you to miss out on this opportunity. These next screens show you how to get to the forms on our website. So if you type in Radloff Middle School, you will get the website and you would go to the For Parents tab at the top of the website. Then from there, you would look for the Back to School links on the website. Then from there, this is what screen comes up. Then you would click here where it says click here for 2020, 2021 free and reduced meal online application. You would click there and it brings up this screen. Once this screen is brought up, it immediately comes up in English, the default language. But if you need another language, like Vietnamese or Korean or Spanish, you can come down here and click, and it will change the form to whatever language you need it to be in. Another important topic is verification forms. With verification forms, we sent those home to 7th and 8th grade students in late July and early August. Those forms were sent to parents, and we have asked for those forms to be returned. So we need them to come back to school. We have found that several families have moved to different locations. And if we do not get these updates, if we don't get updated numbers or updated email, it is difficult for the school to reach you if we need to reach you for something. So it is very important that you complete the verification forms so that we can know what your student, we can know any updates to email addresses, any updates to phone numbers, any updates to addresses, anything that needs to be updated to emergency contacts. Those are very important updates that we have to have. So we need you to make updates to that information. And the way you make those updates is you just cross out the old information and you write in the new information. Now, if you have a change to your address, you can cross out, you should cross that out. But if you cross out the address and make an update to the address, please note that we are going to make sure, we're going to need 2 forms of verification about your new address, such as a utility bill or a lease or a mortgage. We need 2 of those kinds of things so that we can verify that that's your address, or that you're verifying that that's your address. Then you would sign the bottom of the form to verify that these changes are what you want. This is just the bottom of the form. The form was in 2 separate pages. And you just see at the bottom, this is where you would sign. And just note that you can return these to schools and into the school in several ways. One, you can email it. You can mail it to the school. You can also email it by scanning the form. If you scan the form, you can email it in. Or if your student is coming to school as an in-person student, you can send it with the student if they are an in-person student. Just a reminder, I'm going to take a pause so that the translator can make sure they get the information. Just a reminder that Gwinnett County announced in, I believe it was late July, that we would be doing a phased-in approach, and that may have been early August, a phased-in approach to having students return to school. So our 6th graders returned in person on, I'm going to try and get my cursor here. They returned in person on August 26th. Those parents who chose in person had their students come back. Some students stayed digital because that's what their parents preferred, and that's what has happened. But our September 2nd, our 6th and 7th grade students are to be in person. Those ones who chose in person, they're coming on September 2nd. And on September 9th, 8th grade is returning to in-person instruction. And essentially, that means 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and middle school would all be there in person. Now, this selection of in-person or digital was based on parent surveys from late June and July. So the Gwinnett County sent out a survey multiple times to families to ask you to complete it to note your preference for school, whether it be digital or in person. And if you did not complete the survey, then it defaulted to in person. So those are the data points that we have been using as a school to plan for the students who'll be digital, but also plan for the students who'll be in person. So those were the two options that people had to choose. Your choice needs to match what your student's actually doing. So if you chose in person, your student should be coming in person. If you chose digital, your student should be coming digitally. Now, we've had some requests from parents whose desire is to switch from digital to in person. And we appreciate the request. However, we want to say that now that in-person instruction has begun, it's critical that we have a firm grasp on students who will be in the building. Our in-building person or in-person instruction requires a lot of planning, a significant amount of planning. Because we are making sure that we respond to all of the guidelines in regards to COVID and the pandemic. So we plan extensively for our in-person instruction as well as for our digital, but the things that are in-person instruction, some of the things that impact in-person instruction are class sizes, right? We know the amount of students are going to be in a certain class. Arrival to school, how many kids are coming off the bus and having to walk through the hallways at one time. Dismissal, how many students are leaving the classroom and having to walk to the buses at one time. Transitions to and from different classes. Breakfast counts, lunch counts, class sizes, all of those things are very much impacted by our in-person instruction. So it is not very easy for us to pivot from a parent who says digital to in-person, because now we are having to readjust massive plans. So in that mindset, we are asking, because we've already started 6th grade in-person instruction, they started on the 26th of August, and we're about to start 7th grade in-person instruction. Essentially, we're telling parents and we're telling our community to understand that your students will be assigned to their current delivery model as you indicated on the student option survey. That is the option that you will have. We will plan to, and students who would elect it to be digital learners, they're going to be digital learners up until a point in October when we can begin to look at it. In October, we can plan to communicate a process for adjusting your school options. And that choice would be effective until the first semester ends. But at this time, this desire to switch from digital to in-person, we've got to realize the impact that it has to all of the other plans that have happened in school. So we're asking parents to understand that we need you to hold on to whatever it is that you chose at that time for your students, and we can make adjustments in October. So and if there's extenuating circumstances, of course, we'll listen to those extenuating circumstances. But for planning purposes, we're asking that you hold firm and tight to the choice that you made in the summer for your students' choices. And I'll tell you this, the other thing is that as we prepare for students to come back, I'm gonna pause, I forgot. As we prepare for students to come back, we are asking parents to make sure that as they bring their devices, that they bring their phones, and we're actually encouraging them to bring their phones and bring their devices, that they take the time to download an app. There is an app that's made for eClass, and this app will help students see all of their courses on the app, but it will also help them have a barcode so that if they don't like that lanyard that they have to wear around their neck, they can use their phone and scan for lunch and breakfast and things on their phone as well. So we're encouraging all families to have their students download this app. And so here are the instructions on how you do it. It's the Pulse app. The app is called Pulse. And it's download Brightspace Pulse app from Google Play or the iOS App Store. And it just kind of gives you the directions here. I'm going to pause and just let you look at that. For translation purposes, you can kind of skip past this because I'm going to have a Spanish version of this too. So here's the Spanish version. So it's an application for phones. And we are encouraging you to have your students download them, whether they're in 6th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade. If they have a device, if they have a phone, please have them download this Pulse app. And here are the directions for how to do it. All right. So once again, I'll just reinforce what I just said. Please have your students bring their own devices to school. It will assist us in supporting their in-house instruction, and it will help them to connect with all of their classmates who are digital learners. You know, one thing about having part of our school in person and part of our school digital learners is that we want to make sure that both worlds come together, and that we still build the community of learners that we strive to build each and every day. So we want to make sure that your students are connecting to all the students. So if you happen to have a student who's in person, it's great if they have a device with them here at the building. And if you are an in-person learner, right, let's say you are an in-person learner, but you've been learning digitally, right, for the last few weeks, we are asking that you bring your devices back to school. Bring your devices back to school. So if you checked out a device from school, bring that device back to school so that that device can be used to help other students and your student connect digitally with others. So please make sure that they bring their devices, all students bring your devices back to school so that you can connect with the digital learners even while you're here on campus. Just a quick pivot just to understand that the class schedules have been difficult, I know, and challenging to understand, but this is where you go to find your schedule depending on how the portal looks. They change the student portal depending on the capacity that it can hold. So please just know this is where you find your schedules. For clarification, just remember, I'm gonna go through these very quickly because you've seen these slides before. If you've seen any of my other presentations, you've seen them. But I have to make a quick note to explain something that is changing on Tuesday. Typically, students would go to Radloff Pride during advisement. So they would go into their 9th period class, click on the advisement class, go into Radloff Pride from there. And the difference is they would be doing it every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But now for Radloff Pride for advisement, which is period 9, advisement period 9, from 9:30 until 10, students will only go to that class on Mondays only. So we spent a significant amount of time at the beginning of the year trying to get students acclimated to some social and emotional development. So we did a lot of relationship and community building, as well as going through some technical tips on how to navigate eClass. Well, now we're shifting to really focus on our core academic remediation and enrichment. And that will require that students not go through period 9 or advisement period 9 every day, that they only go there on Monday. So today happens to be Sunday, but on Monday they will go to the period 9 advisement on their eClass pages. But on Tuesday, they're going to go to where it says period 1 on their schedule. From 9:30 till 10 o'clock, they're going to go to where it says period 1, and that's Tuesday through Fridays only. I'm going to pause and give the translator an opportunity to catch all of that. Just going to show you what this looks like in terms of your schedules. So essentially, On Tuesday, September 1st, students will start to click into their first period class, Tuesdays through Fridays. And students will only click on period 9 advisement class on Mondays. I'm just repeating it so that we make sure everybody understands that. Now, those of you who are going to be at school, it's a lot easier for us to explain these things to you while you're here. So we want to make sure that our digital learners are hearing it and able to follow along just as well. Once again, on Tuesday, September 1st, students are going to log into or click into their e-class period 1 from Tuesday to Friday. On Monday, August 31st, and all the other Mondays that follow, they're going to click onto period 9 advisement class. Just another reminder. So just to see how it works on your schedule, I'm just going to use one example of one schedule and then move on. So the periods are listed here on your schedule. Just to remember, for homeroom, only in-person students are doing homeroom. So all of our digital learners, you start the day at 9:30. You want to start logging on around 9:20 or so to get yourself ready. But starting on Monday, so this Monday, August 31st, you'll go to period 9 advisement like you always would, 9:30, 10 o'clock on Monday, because tomorrow, August 31st is Monday. You're going to go to that period 9 class on your e-class. But then on Tuesday, it's going to switch up. So on Tuesday, you're going to actually click onto your period 1 class, which we call ELT in the building, which basically means extended learning time. But for that extended learning time period, you're going to click on whatever it says here. So in this case, this student's extended learning time period says language arts. Now, just so you know, it can be a variety of different subjects that are being addressed during that time period, but we put that placeholder there. So basically from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, period 1, whatever it says is period 1 on the student's schedule, that is where they're going to go to starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Once again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is when they do period 1. And then for Mondays are always going to go to period 9 between 9:30 and 10. Between 9:30 and 10, always period 9 on Monday. Between 9:30 and 10, always period 1 on Tuesday through Friday. Once again, I'm going to say from Tuesday through Friday, it's 9:30 to 10. They go to period 1. And then from 9:30 to 10 on Mondays, it's period 9. I'm going to go back to that last one just to say it again, because I don't, if everybody understands. So starting on Tuesday, so basically on any Monday, you go to period 9, your advisement class. On any Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, you go to period 1, which is whatever it says on your period 1 schedule. Just showing you some samples of other grade levels. And if you have any questions, feel free to call the front office. This is our number. We're always happy to assist you. Please note that sometimes it does get busy with those phones coming through, but we are more than happy to speak to you to help work through those concerns or some issues or challenges that you may be facing. Just to note that we are going to have some asynchronous learning sessions coming up. And those asynchronous learning sessions are to help teachers to plan and prepare for in-person instruction, but also to help when the students come in to help get them acclimated to their first day back in the building. There are a lot of procedures that we're using in order to keep students safe. And so we have to go through those procedures to make sure that everybody understands what to do and that we rehearse and practice them so that everyone's on the same page. So on Wednesday, September 2nd, 7th grade, language arts, social studies, science, math courses. They're all going to be asynchronous. And that does not mean that you don't log in. You do log in and you do the work, but you won't have live instruction on that day. So whereas the teacher would typically have a Zoom session for you to attend, you won't be in a Zoom session. You'll be listening to some instructions about what you need to do, and then you're going to go do it. And the teachers are going to make you accountable for doing those things, but just make sure that I apologize, I switched over to student mode when I was talking. This is my parent video. I will do my student video here soon, so I will say the same thing to our students. But for parents, just be aware that they are to be doing self-paced work. They should be logging in on every day. But this is just a time where there's teachers will not be there live with them for instruction, but there is work for them to do, and there's instructions for them to do, and there's things they have to produce and upload and things like that. And that's also the case for Friday, September 4th. For 8th grade in particular, for 8th grade, those teachers are going to be preparing to get those students to come back. They're not coming back on the 4th, but those teachers are preparing for them to come back. And so Friday, September 4th is that preparation day for them to get ready for the in-person instruction. So they have asynchronous lessons, self-paced, independent lessons posted for students. And that also is the case for connections teachers on that same Friday. And then on Wednesday, September 9th, which is the day that 8th grade returns to us, we also have asynchronous sessions posted for 8th grade, as well as for connections classes. So I'm just going to keep that there so everybody can look at it for a moment. Just going to pause. And because we used to have, teachers resetting passwords, because teachers are now working with students in-person instruction, especially for 6th grade already, and then soon to be 7th grade teachers, we're going to really ask that if you have an issue with a password needing it to be reset, that you do call the front office, and they'll get somebody who can more immediately assist you. With teachers teaching in person, the immediate assistance may not be available, so we want you to have a way to get your problem solved as soon as possible. So please do call the front office if you need help with resetting your password. Please note that the Return to a Learning Hub is on the GCPS website. It has lots of great information posted there to help you navigate the in-person learning thing. And so there's all of that. I'm gonna try, I think it's gonna. So the Return to Learning Hub is right here, just so you can see. It's on the main page of the website, but if you scroll down as well, it's also there. It has digital learning and different things, and then it also has transition to in-person instruction, depending on what it is that you've chosen to do for your student. They have lots of key advice here. Things about, mask requirements and cloth face coverings. They have information in regards to athletics and extracurriculars, just kind of what you do in the morning before your student comes to school, like checking out for temperatures and things like that, making sure they're not sick and sending them to school. There's a lot of different things in regards to how to best prepare to keep everyone, staff and students, safe in the schools. So, and then also there's a lot of digital learning thing about how do you access, just different things about PDF files, about how you access and things. I'm gonna go back to a new share. Well, I guess I am already sharing this. Let's just see what it says. Okay. All right, there we go. Back to it. So for parents who chose in-person instruction, Gwinnett County is sending, or has sent on Friday, Gwinnett County sent an email to parents who chose in-person instruction. And then the school also sent an email, Radloff Middle School sent an email to the people that chose an in-person instruction. And that's based on what you put in your survey. Now, if you've requested something since then, you didn't get this letter. And as I said before, we can't promise that we're going to be able to honor that because we're going to be able to look at these things closer to October. So just wanting everyone to kind of see this. But more than anything, look at the letter again. And sometimes the Gwinnett County emails and our emails, if you're not careful, will go to your junk email. So pay attention to your junk email. As a parent myself, I realized that a lot of the emails that were coming from the county were actually going to my junk email. Or if you have an Outlook calendar, an Outlook email, sometimes it goes to your non-focus, your other box, and you will miss it. So make sure that you're looking in all boxes, including your junk emails, to make sure that you're getting all of the communication from the local school as well as the county, because there's some important information being sent out all the time. I'm going to pause. And then I just want you, when you get the communication, just to look at the bottom here. There is a place where it tells you to complete, click here to complete form. There's an important form that you must complete before students return, and that to in-person instruction. It's an acknowledgement of certain things, and so we do need you to complete that acknowledgement. If you've not already done that acknowledgement, if you're a 6th grade parent, or if you're a 7th grade parent, please click on there to do that acknowledgement. 8th grade parents, you'll probably get yours on Friday of this week. You'll get an email from the county and then an email from the school, and then you'll have to acknowledge some things. But once you click on this is the acknowledge you get. And part of it is that you are agreed to wear a mask, to practice hand hygiene, to make sure that you're practicing social distancing when possible, and then you are keeping your student home when they're sick. We don't want to spread anything, so we are just asking that if someone's not feeling well, they stay home, let them ride out that sickness at home and not send them to school. They will still be able to participate because they can be a digital learner even if they're not there. So I don't want you to worry about them missing out on their education, because we can still tap them into the digital world and make sure that we're instructing them in that way. But it is important that if they're not feeling well, that you do not send them to school. So please make sure that you fill out this acknowledgement form and make sure that you do that, because we'll follow up with you if you haven't done it. We're trying to give parents time to realize that they haven't done it, and then we're going to really start reaching out to parents to get you to do it. If your student is an in-person student, for digital learners, you would not have gotten this. And just a note for those of you who are in person that there are certain masks that the CDC no longer recommends. And, you know, with this pandemic, there has been new information that's given at all times. It never, you never can quite rely on what was there for 2 weeks ago, because at a certain point, these masks over here with events were fine, but they are no longer fine. They're no longer okay. So we are asking that you not send your student to school with this type of mask. If they have that type of mask, we will provide them with another one. And we are very, very clear that they have to be the cloth, you know, closed mask. This right here is a mesh container which has holes in it, which does nothing to protect your student, nor their classmates, nor the staff. And so those masks are not acceptable, but masks are required on campus. And so we are asking that you adhere to it. The 6th graders have been phenomenal with this. So we want to continue that with our 7th and 8th graders who enter. And we have been very safe and keeping everyone safe thus far. So we want to keep that up, and following these guidelines will help us to do that. And just note that if your student is coming back on transportation, you need to know what bus they come on. One, you can go on the verification form. That verification form that you're going to send back, it does tell you the bus numbers. But also, if you go to the portal and you log on to the portal and you go to where it says student information, And then from there, when you click on it, it says click here to access. And then step 3, I believe it says, I'm not sure what that says, but step 3 and 4 here, you can kind of see just about the area that you'd have to click, and it will give you the bus times. If you have to go through the parent portal to find that information out. If for some reason you don't have a parent portal, I'm going to suggest strongly that you do, because there's a lot of information through parent portal that will help you as a parent support your student and their education, but also just kind of stay up to date to some things. But if you're unable to access the portal for any reason, feel free to call the school for us to help give you the information. But we'd love if you try it out on the portal to see if you can get to it, so that you can build your own capacity to find these things as well. But we're more than happy to help you if need be. But it's quicker a lot of times if you can kind of figure that out on your own as well. So that's our phone number. As I said before, we're more than willing to help you, but wanting you to also build your capacity to lead you to find things so that you're not depending on our school hours, right? Because if you have to call in the school hours, that's complicated for working families. But if you can lead yourself through these steps, you can find them at any point in time, at any point in the day that you need to find it, and not be relying on us through those school hours to help you get through it. So reminders that we have student verification sheets that need to be returned. Make those changes and send them back to the school. I'm going to pause because I think I need to wait for the translator. Just a note that review those student verification sheets. If there's something that needs to be changed, cross it out, make the change. If there's an address change in particular, you need 2 forms of verification for the address. They came on blue sheets this summer. 6th graders are bringing them home in their book bag, so parents ask them, hey, what's in your book bag? So if they have a verification sheet, they can give it to you. We do need those back so that we can update the information with important contact information that we'll need for you in order for your student to reach you. Also, make sure that you're completing the free and reduced lunch forms. They will expire in mid-September, which means that you won't get the additional funds to help pay for your student's lunch. And if your student is coming for in-person to school, complete the acknowledgement form and that the county sent through the communication on Friday. Look for Friday's email and look for that form and complete the acknowledgement. And then also, please have your student download the eClass Pulse app to their phone. That's going to make it a lot easier for them to see all their eClass information. And then please, please, please make sure that they're bringing their devices back to school if they are in-person students. And even if they are, even if they were in person, they borrowed a device from the school, make sure they bring back that school-issued device back to school when they return for in-person instruction. We do hope that all of your families are doing well. We know that it's a tripod. I always describe it when you're trying to make sure that we're building a very, very strong student. And so it's important that the students work with the parents and that the school, we all have to work together. It's important that all legs be upright, sturdy on the ground, doing our part so that we can help the student be stable and get the best education that they possibly can. So thank you for your partnership and all that you're doing. We really appreciate you and all that you took on as your own as a parent, being the first educator of your student. But we are really excited to begin to, educate your students in whatever method you've decided to have them be educated. We really do appreciate you and that partnership. And as I always tell the students that we really do appreciate your partnership, and we know it's absolutely key for their success. So thank you for your time today. I know it was long and a lot of announcements, but we're hoping that you learned a lot and were able to get the updates so that you can support your students. But if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We do care about you and we do appreciate you. Thank you so much.